You can achieve anything you want if you believe in yourself and you're willing to take risks. Hi, this is Vasudevan, author of Follow Your Heart, Your Brain is Stupid. In this episode of the Heart to Heart Chat Show, Alka shares with us the challenges that she faced in her life and how she overcome each one of them just because she had the faith in herself and she was willing to take risks. And she never compromised on any of her values. This is a truly amazing and inspiring journey. So watch till the very end. Let's jump right into the show. Hi, Alka. Welcome to this chat show, and thanks a lot for accepting my invitation. It's a pleasure having you here.
Hi, Vasu. It's my pleasure to be here on your show. I must tell you that I have watched some of your episodes, and I feel absolutely honored to be part of this. So thank you for having me here today.
I am flattered, Alka. So viewers, we have today a person who has defied all odds in her quest for self-reliance and freedom. Please welcome Alka Verma, who is the resident director of Zambit, which is the world's first AI-driven future readiness system designed for schools. Now, don't ask me what it is. She's going to explain what that is, okay? And I've had a small discussion with Alka, and she did share some of her very inspiring journey. Alka, we are all eagerly waiting to hear and learn from your inspiring journey. Over to you.
Thank you, Vasu. I'm happy to know that you felt it was inspirational in some ways. And thank you for introducing me. Zambit is very, very close to my heart. So I'm hoping that's the last step in my journey. Okay. So when I start telling you a little bit about where I come from and where I am today, you will probably see the connection. So Vasu, let me start off by telling you a little bit about my childhood. In my childhood, I come from a defense services background. Okay. And you know how it is in defense services, you're moving constantly.
Right.
And I actually changed 13 schools in a span of 11 years, wow, in spite of being in boarding school for 5 years. So there were times when, my father would be transferred from Kashmir to Hyderabad and then Meghalaya, all in the span of 1 year. And we're talking of a very long time ago when regional language learning was compulsory in schools. So when we went to Hyderabad, I had to learn the local language there. When we went to Kashmir, I had to learn that. And when we moved to Punjab, we had to learn Punjabi. Because of the fact that I changed so many schools, made so many friends, learned so many languages, one of the things that I became very good at was to become a very quick learner. Okay. Life didn't give me too much time to learn. I had to just pick up from where I was and keep moving. It did stand me in very good stead as I moved forward in life. So that's it. I had a very happy childhood. I was the eldest of three daughters. So it became, I had to be the leader. I had to be the president for the other two. And so that gave me a lot of mixed feelings to be under the microscope in some ways and yet to be a leader in many ways. So I think those were my learnings: adaptability, becoming a quick learner, learning to get on, being a doer instead of a talker. And that is all the things, of course, a very disciplined family. You know how army families are. We were never given any helpers. We had to learn to get up and do our own stuff. So lots of learning over there in my childhood. Okay. That actually set the benchmark of what I would eventually get to continue. Well, at that time, I didn't know what my life would look like. But in retrospect, when I sit down, I realize how important that toughening up was for me to take on the challenges that life was going to throw at me. So where do you want me to begin?
Thereafter, what happened? If you can share some of the key changes that happen in your life you face, that'll be great. Then we'll take it forward.
Okay, sure. So let me go. So that was my childhood, and by this time I was already getting into college, and as I just said, I was the eldest of three siblings. My father was going to retire from the army, and there was this great pressure on me to be married because it's believed that if the elder one doesn't get married, then the younger two will not be able to get married.
Correct.
So under that pressure, I had to get married at a very young age. By the time I was 20, I was already married to a tea planter.
Okay.
And moving away from my college, which was in Delhi and a metro city, moving off to the tea plantations at that very young, gullible age in itself was a huge challenge. Though I must tell you that I did marry my childhood sweetheart, somebody
wow.
that I had known forever.
Okay.
We had been in the same NDPU buses. But having said all those things in common, the transition from a city life to a plantation life was the first challenge.
Okay.
Well, amongst other things, by the time I was 21, I was a mother. And I was still studying. So there was this whole juggling between going back to college in Delhi and coming back to the tea plantations and getting to learn a whole new way of life. And on top of that, I was in the family way. While I was doing this, I managed to do really well in my academics. Well, I was bright, I have to say, even if I say so myself. And getting good marks came very naturally to me. So in my master's, I finished my master's in a subject called Rural Community Extension. I got a scholarship to go off to the Cornell University and study institutional management. And I did. So from Delhi to the tea plantations, which is in the wilderness, to Ithaca, Cornell University to study institutional management. And when I got there, I was lonely. I wasn't quite sure I would last out. So somewhere after doing my pre-doctorate, 1 year of my pre-doctorate, I came back to the tea plantations. And I quit my academics, which I must say that till today I regret. I do wish I had completed it. However, that did not stop me from getting on with life. Okay. So 2 landmarks, changing many schools, changing 3 different lifestyles, from a city life to a plantation life to a college university. And by 21, I was a mother. So there was me growing up and trying to deal with all these changes that were going on in my life. And I had a little baby that I was responsible for now. I think the pressures begin to take their toll, the financial pressures, the cultural pressures. And it seemed to me my marriage was coming about.
Okay.
And that was probably what made me realize that if I wasn't economically independent, I would have to live the life that I did not choose to live.
Okay.
And when that realization came to me, my academics, all of that became very important for me. So juggling these roles, I started off a little primary school in the tea plantations, which had never ever been done before. It was like a first. It was like a path-breaking thing that one of the tea, by then I was a tea mem saab. And a tea mem saab never did things like that. She got up in the morning, she attended to her mali bari, she got dressed, she looked pretty, and she sat in her patio because she had all these bearers and servants who would attend to everything that needed to be done.
Yeah,
and she was only supposed to nod it.
King and queen's life there. I know that.
Truly is.
Yes.
I lived 14 years of that, Vasu.
Okay.
And I cannot say I disliked it, but there was this horrible emptiness in me, which needed to be filled with something which was more meaningful. And I think the starting of this little primary school gave me the confidence that yes, maybe even over there was an opportunity that I could explore. So this primary school went on for a little while, but then the distances were great. And most people in the tea plantation send off their children to boarding school when they are in grade 2.
Right.
So it could not grow. And I started looking for something else to do. And at that time, I started off a sewing school for the labor women.
Okay.
I realized that being economically independent for a woman was very, very important, whichever way she could do it.
Right.
And the avenues being so limited in the tea plantations gave me a lot of learning to find how I could do things differently. So that was one. From there, I think a lucky break, my husband got moved to the head office in Calcutta. And after 14 years of having lived in the tea plantations, by which time I had a second baby, I had 2 sons by now, the marriage seemed to be going in different directions. So we were two people that had known each other for a very long time, but had grown up in different directions.
Right.
Well, when I got married, my husband was only 23 and I was only 20. And both of us were growing up with our children, but growing up in different directions. Anyway, this lucky break happened and we moved to Calcutta. That's where the trouble became greater. And we both realized that instead of living in a situation where both of us were miserable, it would, and we were staying together because of the children. And that's how most marriages are. They say,
Yes,
those become the crutches and you continue to stay in them, bound to each other in misery. Well, fortunately, both the boys finished their primary school and we were now in a position to be able to send them to boarding school. So we sat down and had a chat with our very young children, 8 and 11 at that time, and, said to them that, what, this is not working. Your dad and me can't live together now, or will not be able to continue with this. But that doesn't mean we love you less. And you will never have to make the choice of having to choose a mother or a father. And, well, they were going to boarding school and they were, I cannot say they were happy with the situation, but they somehow had the smartness or the intelligence to figure out that we were not very happy together.
Okay.
And I remember my elder son looking up at me and saying, you know what, Mom, we know both of you love us. And if you are so unhappy with each other, go live your life.
Wow.
But don't ever make us make choices.
What a mature response, huh?
Even I couldn't believe it. This was an 11-year-old. Because you know what he said to me? He said to both of us, it will be very hard for us to come back from boarding school and not know which parent is going to come and get us from the airport.
Right.
And that really struck home. And we kind of honored that forever. Whenever our children came back from boarding school, both of us were always there at the airport to meet them. And we never made them make any choices.
Right.
So I cannot say I had a bitter divorce. We had a very amicable understanding that both of us needed to get on with our lives because we were different kinds of people. I wasn't meant to live in isolation and insecurity. I had to go out there, and I was a free spirit and I needed the freedom to go out there and lead my life very differently.
Right.
Basu, you must remember this was 32 years ago. Divorce was not common in those days.
Yes, absolutely. It was taboo. Yeah.
Completely taboo. And in the family I came from, there had never been a divorce, a separation. Not just that. I mean, for the world to see, I had everything. I had a husband who seemed to be caring for me. I had this beautiful bungalow with servants and cars and a life that people couldn't dream of, club life. I mean, I had everything. So why would I want to go away? Why would I want to struggle and work and earn and be independent? It was something that nobody in my family, least of all my father, would understand.
Right.
And they would keep telling me that, you know what, this is stupid. So what if there's a little bit of bickering and there's a little bit of slapping here and there? But that was something that I just could not deal with. I could never, ever imagine that I would have to tolerate this just because I had all the comforts in the world.
Right.
Yeah. So when we moved to Calcutta, I got the opportunity of starting up my own boutique. It was the first boutique that made clothes for working women. Most women, when they go out to work, typically start wearing westernized clothes
Mm.
because there are no Indian clothes which are non-fussy. So that was one of the challenges I took up, and I started the first boutique in Calcutta
Mm.
that actually made comfortable Indian workwear for women.
Mm.
And I found that that really changed the way women started dressing up and going to work. I
Right.
did that for about 13 years,
Mm-hmm.
by which time my marriage broke up.
Mm.
My husband decided to move away from Calcutta to Bangalore, and I decided to stay on in Calcutta and rebuild my life in surroundings where now I had no identity. I
Mm.
didn't have a home, I didn't have a club membership, I didn't have a car, I didn't have a surname. I
Wow.
was always known as Alka Verma. For me to go back to my maiden name would have been sacrilege because
Mm.
I had no identity left.
Right.
So, from that fabulous life, I literally had to live in the slums. I had this architect friend who was building a set of apartments in a really crummy part of Calcutta. So suddenly, from this lavish Thana house that I was living in, which was right next to the British High Commissioner, I was
Mm-hmm.
out in the slums in this one little apartment, which this architect friend gave me for a couple of months because he said, till you can find something else, Alka, go ahead and live there.
Mm.
Wasn't an easy transition at all.
Mm. Can
But to
understand.
find
Yeah.
my dignity, yeah, sorry.
I can understand that. Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy at all.
Yeah,
Mm.
no. Um, but those 3, 4 months in that little apartment, which overlooked a khatal on one side. You know what a khatal is, Vasu?
Yeah, the
It's for you
cows,
tie
cows
cattle.
milking cows, no?
That's correct.
Hey, don't worry.
So when
I,
I
I,
opened,
I grew up in Calcutta, Alka, so I know
oh,
about
okay.
Calcutta. Yes.
So then you will be able to relate to this from this fabulous place in 6 Southend Park, which overlooked the lakes. I had
Yeah.
a Gulmohar tree coming into my apartment.
Yeah.
I suddenly moved to this place called Mahindra Road,
Mm-hmm.
which was this little slummy part where I opened one window and there was a khatal, and when I opened the other window, there was a garbage dump.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this was a brand new building, so it had no electricity. And this architect friend of mine had pulled a wire from somewhere and given me electricity.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my struggle began. However, I never ever lost my spirit. I would continue to fight to find my dignity back. My children were away in boarding school. I never fought for custody. I never fought for alimony. I never fought for anything. I just said, if I have nothing more to do with you, I have nothing more to do with your money. I will rebuild my life from scratch. By now, I was, I think, 35 or 36.
Mm.
Um, Lucky coincidence at a party, I met somebody who, as I was walking out of the party, handed me a card and said to me, lady, if you're ever looking for a job, call me.
Okay.
I slipped that card into my pocket and I forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the situation then started getting bad because my architect friends told me that I had to vacate that apartment in 2, 3 months. That's as long as he could give it to me for. And now I was really desperate to find a job. As luck would have it, I pulled out that card and looked at it. I hadn't even looked at that card on that day. And it was from the managing director of Bata India Limited.
Okay.
If you've been in Calcutta, you will probably know this. Vijay Lamba had just left and Pradeep Dutt had just taken over Bata.
Yeah.
I pick up the phone and I call him. And I say, Pradeep, I wonder if you remember me. You had met me at this party. and you had given me your card and you had said, lady, if you're ever looking for a job, call me. I'm calling you. I desperately need a job. And you know what he said? Are you the lady who was wearing that pink outfit with matched pink court shoes?
Wow, he
And I said,
remembered that.
yeah. That's what made him think that I would be good for Bata.
Okay.
And he said, well, he called me for an interview and I got the job.
Wow. Okay.
Got a club membership, I got a house, I got a car. And I worked with Bata for 6 years. I launched Hush Puppies, I launched Marie Claire. Here was me. I had studied science, I had done extension education, I had studied institutional management, and now I was designing shoes. And I must say, successfully. So, after having worked with Bata for 6 years, they decided to move out of the fashion line. And I was a high-end fashion designer. They wanted me to design down market shoes for them, which I could not do because I wasn't tuned to do that. So I had to quit Bata and I moved on to my next challenge, which was Tupperware. Tupperware was then just starting its program in India. And by chance, I happened to meet the lady, or one of my friends recommended me to the lady who was interviewing for Tupperware. This was in Calcutta. Well, to cut the long story short, I got the job. I interviewed for it. And I, for several years, started up the Tupperware program in Calcutta and in Hyderabad. So I was looking after two regions. I was juggling between the two places, by which time my two boys were growing up very nicely, and both of them opted to come and stay with me instead of their father. So without any bitterness, we decided to let the boys do what they wanted to. I had, by then, I could afford to look after them to whatever best I could, not the way their father had been able to do it, but good enough for them to want to live with me. So from there, my career went up and up. I took many vertical moves. I changed many industries. I became a startup specialist. I moved to education, and today I am in EdTech. This is a career spanning 35 years. Both my boys are settled in whatever they do. One of them is working with the TDI Bank in Toronto. The other runs his own rehabilitation center.
Okay.
So life, even when it is tough and throws challenges at you, gives you the opportunity to rise up, meet those challenges, and never lose faith in yourself and your abilities.
You are a living example of that, Alka. In fact, I was wanting to ask you from where you are getting that resilience to continue. See, everybody faces challenges in life, some form or the other, right? But a lot of people give up. But you listened to your heart. I think that was the main thing. You had all the luxuries, all the facilities, but still something was not working out. A lot of people will console themselves. It's okay. What's the problem? I've got a good life. So they would live with that problem, but internally they were not happy. Whereas you took that decision. Really, when you shared a few things with me, I decided I have to feature you in my chat show. Yeah. So
Thank
so
you, Basu. I
inspiring for
never
people.
learned to compromise.
Right.
I never learned to compromise with myself. I never let anything get me down.
Right.
I always felt that, okay, so the lawnmower has gone all over me, but I have the resilience to bounce back up again.
Wow.
I never shied away from taking risks. I think that probably is what gave me the strength to keep going. My faith in myself and in that higher power. Because at the end of the day, I knew that I was not a bad person. So nothing was going to harm me because I hadn't harmed anybody or anything. I think it was that faith in myself that kept me going.
Amazing. Viewers, you saw what she has gone through, and this is a great learning for all of us. We all face challenges in different forms, but what is important is How do you face it? How do you get that resilience? That's most important. So Alka, question to you: do you have any regrets about any decision that you made in your life? Any one or two? Yeah.
Well, I'm amazed you are asking me this question, because this question has been asked to me many times by
Oh,
many
is it?
people.
Oh, it's a.
And I have been asked, if you had your life all over again, would you live it differently? And my answer has been no. Every experience that I have gone through has made me a stronger and more self-reliant person. I would not change anything. I would want to go through all of this and come through a winner in every lifetime.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. Typically, when you take any decisions, Alka, do you use your brain like most people, or do you use your heart? What's your take on this?
My heart always. I'm a Cancerian woman.
Okay.
I cannot think with my head. My head comes in logically later.
For the execution
but
part.
Decisions come from my heart.
Right. Fantastic.
Can I just say something, Vasu?
Yes.
I remember your book. This reminds me of your book. The Brain is Stupid.
But actually, in one of the seminars, somebody asked me, how can you call the brain stupid? He's the typical brain guy. I said, see, understand it in the right context. I'm not saying the brain is stupid. The brain's job is different. The heart's job is different. You have to understand what the heart is trying to do and what the brain is trying to do. In that respect, it is stupid. You need to listen to your heart and follow, because the brain will figure out the way, the solution the brain will give you. That's what is important, is what I told him. So, unless you understand this, we'll keep listening to your brain and be stuck in life. Yep. Okay.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And Alka, I would request you to share one or two key messages that you like to leave with our viewers as they move forward.
Sure. I think my first message would be never underestimate yourself. Great. You have to love yourself for other people to love you. So never underestimate yourself. Don't compromise with yourself, which does not mean that you need to be aggressive and assertive, but never let people tell you what you cannot do. You can do what you want to, provided you believe in yourself. And I think the other one, you have to take risks. It is very easy to be in your comfort zone and never grow. It is only when you come out of your comfort zone and take a few risks, you will know the real you. And that real you, believe you me, is way more interesting than what other people think you are. So, Vasu, for me, the most important thing has been to listen to my heart and not be afraid of taking a few risks, not knowing what the outcome is. It will be good sometimes and may not be so good the other time, but your spirit will take you through all of that.
Amazing. Very, very, very profound messages that you have given. Viewers, I'm sure you would have loved this episode, and there's so much that one can learn from her inspiring journey. And Alka, it was really inspiring. You had a doubt. You were saying, I do not know.
Yes, I was wondering what would be so inspiring. It just seems like so natural to me, maybe. Yeah. But thank you so much for giving me so much time.
So viewers, if you like this episode, do consider sharing and consider subscribing to the channel, as I bring you more such amazing stories of people who have had challenges and who have overcome them. That's what one can really relate to and learn and implement in our own lives. Alka, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Vasu.
Absolutely amazing session, and I loved it. And there's so much that I have myself picked up from your life experience, and I'm sure viewers, it would have been well worth in just 30 minutes. And with that, all the very best. See you guys in the next, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Vasu. Bye-bye.
Bye.